If you want to make sure that the buyers of your condo can't simply change their minds and get their deposit back instead of closing, or if you're a buyer and you don't want to be obligated to close until you've had a chance to review the rules, regulations, and financials of the condo building, then you'll want to pay close attention to today's tips. Unlike homes that are not within a community association, the sale of a condominium requires the seller to disclose certain information to the buyer before the buyer is obligated to fund and close on the deal. This means that buyers of condos have the right to cancel the deal and get their money back at any time until either 3 days after a current complete set of the listed documents are received by them or until they close. This disclosure requirement does not fall on the association or the realtor. Does it surprise you to hear that it falls squarely on the unit owner? Regardless of whether the seller knew about this obligation or whether the sale and purchase contract contained a list of the required information, the seller is still bound to comply with the disclosure requirements because it's a Florida law that is written into the state statutes. Some of the items that the seller must provide are the declaration of condominium, bylaws, and the most recent year-end financials. Some of the reasons why a buyer may want to closely review these documents are to see whether the association has sufficient reserves to cover necessary repairs to things like the roof or to cover rising insurance premiums. If the reserves are insufficient, then the new unit owner may be on the hook to pay a special assessment to cover those costs in the near future. And speaking of special assessments, it's also a good idea to review the last 12 months of the board meeting minutes to see if any problems or upcoming special assessments have been discussed but have not yet been levied on the unit owners. If a buyer discovers something that the seller failed to disclose, the seller may be on the hook to pay that special assessment, which otherwise would have been the responsibility of the buyer after closing, simply due to the seller's lack of disclosure. So if you're selling a condo in Florida and you don't want your buyers to have a right to back out of the deal without consequence, then you must make sure that you are disclosing all required information in a timely manner. If you'd like an attorney to guide you through this process, text a copy of the buyer's offer to 561-225-2676 to get started. And if you don't have one yet, even better. It's never too soon to discuss a potential sale with a real estate attorney.